Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm here to do my weekly wrap-up. Sorry it's this background again. My back is still doing numbers. It's been bad the last couple of days, so please bear with me. I finished 5 books this week. 6. 4, 5. Yeah, 6. 5. I already brought the other one back. That was Shadow and Bone by Lee Bardugo. So the next one, the first one I finished this week was Spirit by Graham Masterton. I gave it 3 stars, but it's really 2.75. It was long, drawn out, boring, dry. Once it got close to the end, when everything started to happen, it got better, but to me it felt like a slog. It takes place in 1951. And sometimes the writing seemed like it took place over a couple of months, and instead it only took place over a couple of weeks. I'm not quite sure, but it's about 3 sisters. One of them dies when she's 5 years old by falling into a frozen pool and drowns. Fast forward a couple of years, like 2 years, and there's an instance of child sexual abuse. You get a secondhand viewing of it based on a story, and then you find out it's true. This is all like within the first 2 or 3 chapters. And then fast forward 10, 15 years, and they're adults. And people start dying in weird ways, like frostbite, and their limbs are falling off. They are exploding. It's a mess. But there are some gruesome details, like descriptions. And there is an instance of a very brutal rape. Was not expecting the abuse or the rape at all. So, fair warning, trigger warnings for that. So yeah, I was looking, this is the first time reading him, and I was looking forward to a good horror story, and some of it was good, but yeah, no. It didn't appeal to me as much as I wanted it to. Then I finished A Great and Terrible Beauty by Libba Bray, book 1 in the Gemma Doyle series. And this was not what I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't this. I still gave it a 4, I think. Yeah, a 4. So it's about a girl who is born and raised in India. You find out later at the very end of the book, so I'm not going to say why. But she's always wanted to go to England because her brother's gone to England to go to school. She wants to go. She's mad at her mom for not sending her. And then her mom dies. And so she gets trotted off to England to go to school. And she starts to see visions of future events. And to me, this is Mean Girls. Even though I've never seen Mean Girls, I know the premise. It's Mean Girls meets The Craft. So I liked it for that reason, because I love The Craft. She doesn't really have as many visions as I was expecting her to have. I think she has 2. And they're pretty close to the beginning of the book. What else was I going to say about this? Some likable characters, some not. At first, I didn't really like anybody. Not at all. At the end, it was much better. There was one other thing I was going to mention about this, and I forget what it was about. Brain fog. It's been one of those weekends. So yeah, I did enjoy it. The other book that I've read by Libba Bray was Beauty Queens, and I was expecting a little bit more of her humor in this, maybe, and I didn't get it. But yeah, so it is what it is. And then I finished In an Absent Dream by Shauna Maguire. My tablet won't hook up to the internet, so I can't get a picture on it. But it's book 4 in the book 4 in the Wayward Children's series, and I gave it a 3. I didn't like this one as much. This one felt like I was missing something, like some details were forgotten. Like I listened to this on audio, and I even went back to that part to see if I'd missed something, and no, it was completely not there. So I don't know if it was an abridged version that I had, but it wasn't that long to begin with. Like they're short books, so, but it always feels like you're missing some part of the story. So I'm sure you all know what the Wayward Children books are. These kids are feeling that they're not part of their world. They find doors to these other worlds, and they consider them homes, like more home than their actual home. And they keep wanting to go back. So essentially this one was about, it's almost like a prequel of somebody going into the one of the worlds and keeps going back. I think this was the aunt, I'm not sure. But I didn't like it as much, really. It just seems stilted and abrupt, and things were missing, and so. Then I finished, these 2 books I finished on June 30th, but I just did not get to posting them on Goodreads until now. But All He Ever Wanted by Emily McKay. This is book 1 in At Cain's Command. It's about a bunch of brothers who, on their father's deathbed, he's still alive, but on his deathbed, they find out that they've got a sister that, sorry, they don't know about. And he had just found out about. So his father put it to them that whoever finds the missing heiress first gets the company. And he is the CEO of the company right now. And when they were kids, they had a housekeeper that had a granddaughter, and they moved into the house. And he liked her. She liked him, but during high school, they kind of treated each other like they didn't exist. So I thought it was going to be a second chance romance. It wasn't. It's more like a crushes turned into something later. So I gave this a 4. I really do like how he dealt with his dad and the heiress at the end. And you don't know who the heiress is at the end of this. Just, I know it's kind of a spoiler, but it's the ongoing point of this series, because you're looking at all the 3 brothers. There's 2 brothers and a half brother, like a bastard brother. So, yeah. And then I finished All Shook Up by Susan Anderson. This, I gave a 4. I really liked it, but at times she was too overprotective of a mother. So, her aunt and her uncle, I think, are the owners of this hotel resort. She helps run it because her aunt and uncle have pretty much raised her because of her parents. I can't remember if something happened to them or if they just flaked out on her, that sort of deal. And then they find out that their great aunt has left part of the hotel to this man. And they don't know who he is, but what had happened was the great aunt had taken him in out of foster care when he was younger. Something happened. He left her care after a very short period of time. And so they did background checks on him to find out who he was, if they were letting some mass murder into their world or not. And then there's things that are going on in his world that kind of shifty, kind of not. Like, he's a whistleblower for a company he worked for. So a lot of people ended up losing their jobs. His best friend decides that he's pissed off at his wife for not giving him money and does some things, and he gets roped into it. So that mystery aspect was kind of nice, and it all gets wrapped up nicely at the very end. It's romance. You know it's going to wrap up. So yeah, the only thing is she was a little bit overprotective because she is a single mom. He's considered a bad boy because of his past. Nothing in his adulthood really shows that. She's considered a bad girl because she was an unwed mother when she had her son. So the town, it's a small town, thinks she's a slut. So she's just getting over it, that stigma, I guess. But she's a little bit too overprotective, but I can see why she is. But again, she's so overprotective that she doesn't even allow her son to watch TV, really. That's a treat for him to get. Which I'm not saying TV should be allowed for everybody, but he's 10 years old. He's got a little bit more brain power than, Dora. It's, that sort of thing. So, yeah, I did enjoy it. So, currently reading. Again, I don't have any pictures. I have not been able to put pictures in videos, so please bear with. I'm listening to Vacations from Hell by Libba Bray, Claudia Gray. There's 3 other authors. It's a bunch of short stories, paranormal, horror. The first one, I think I was giving it a 4, the first story. Let's see. It was about, or is that the second story? The second story, brain. Maureen Johnson, Sarah Malinowski, and Cassandra Clare. So the first one was and I'm listening to this. I gave it a 4 stars, and I can't even think of what it was. All I could see was the cruise ship, and that's the second story. 3 girls go on a cruise, and everybody's afraid that because people have gone missing, that there's vampires. So they think the one girl's trying to lose her virginity, and there's no parents around, and they meet this other girl whose mother's just a flaky dope addict in her cabin. That was a good one, and I can't remember what the first one was. Can't remember at all. Let's see, I'm just scrolling to see if, yeah, the cruise. Okay, the cruise was the first one. The second one, right, witches. A coven of witches goes on a trip every year. So I gave this one a 3. The men are not allowed to know that the women are all witches, and the 2 young girls, only girls are witches in this world. They hate each other. One always tries to one-up the other one. The other one tries to tell her mother that she's not a good one. Mother doesn't want anything. She just thinks she's jealous, and things go on from there. So, yeah, that one was a 3. And then I'm still reading Codename Verity by Elizabeth Wine. Okay, the way that the first part, it's broken in 2 parts. The first part is Verity telling the story, because wow, I'm all over the place. She gets captured in Nazi-occupied France. They have the pilot's ID, and they think she's the pilot, so they want all the information on airfields and planes that they have access to. And I found her telling the story was very dry. The second part is the actual pilot's version of events, which is a little bit more interesting, even though they're telling the same story. Because Verity's telling essentially her story. What was her name? Maddie? I think it's Maddie. The pilot. Yeah, Maddie. So Verity is telling Maddie's version of the stories. So it's kind of very cut and dried. Whereas the second part, you're actually getting Maddie telling her own story. So it's a little bit better. But essentially, yeah. I was hoping it was going to be better. It's not. It is what it is. And then, okay, I need to take a drink. Tea. The Trouble with Honor by Julia London. I'm almost halfway through. A little over a third. This is a girl who's got 3 other sisters and a stepbrother. The stepbrother is going to be the next Earl. Her stepfather is the Earl and he's dying. And her mother has pretty much dementia and Alzheimer's. And they don't want anybody to know because things could happen. Her stepbrother is engaged to a gold digger. And she doesn't want the gold digger in the family because she's already told her that once she becomes the new Earl's wife, then all of the sisters are going to be gone. And she doesn't want to lose her livelihood. Which, I mean, you're brought up in entitlement. But she's not really entitled, but you're brought up into that aristocracy. And she might be losing it based on somebody who's just marrying into it for the money. Because she's not aristocracy. And so she asks a man at a gambling hall that she meets to seduce, not really ruin the intended, but to seduce her to get her away from her brother. Yeah, sparks start flying. So there's that one. So that is what I've read. That is what I've currently reading. And then I will be starting Echoes of Titanic. I know it's by 2 authors. Again, I couldn't put pictures because I have to read it through Libby. I can't even search it. Just one sec. Oh, sorry. There we go. See if it'll come up. There we go. Mindy Starnes Clark and John Campbell Clark. One's the author and one's the editor, so I don't know if it's translated or whatever. But that one is about Kelsey's great-grandmother Adele had endured the sinking of the Titanic, made it safely to America, where she not only survived but thrived. So it's, you know, family saga, I guess. Kelsey works for the firm Adele founded nearly 100 years ago, now facing a hostile takeover. The firm's origins are challenged when new facts emerge about Adele's actions on the night of the Titanic sinking. So there's that. And then I will be picking up, because library due dates, A Hellion in Her Bed by Sabrina Jeffries. It's historical romance. Having to be told that you have to be married, you know. You Are Not Alone by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. She wants what she can't have, sort of deal. I think, yeah, she thinks she wants their life, but what they really want is hers. So, The Dead by Charlie Higson. It's book 2 in the Enemy books. I don't know if that's what it's actually called. But the first one was The Enemy, the next one is The Dead, and it's when a virus comes in and kills all the adults above, or anybody above the age of 14 or 16, something like that. So these kids are running around fighting off zombies. And then Reckless Girls by Rachel Hawkins. Oh yeah, 6 visitors on an island, 1 dies, suspects. Sort of deal. So that is going to be it for the books. The Van Saga. It's in getting fixed right now. We had another mechanic look at it, and he said it's not as bad as the first one said. So he's fixing it up. We're hoping by the end of this week that my brother-in-law can have his truck back, and we have a new van. My son is going to be keeping the other van to fix up for himself. We're letting him have at her. And still don't know what's going on with our daughter. She's got a whole bunch of stuff that she just told us about last night. but didn't respond to our questions. It's a thing with her. She tends to step back from everybody when she's going through a lot. That's always been her way. So when she's ready to tell us, she will. But she missed my husband's 50th birthday party, so we were very disappointed in her. And yeah, like, she knows she can come talk to us whenever she needs to, but she's always been standoffish, secretive until she's ready. So we know that. Not as many people showed up as we were expecting, which is okay. He was happy with who showed up. Only to find out that his mom has booked a cruise for his next birthday, when she promised that this year would have been their last year to go away. And then they were talking about this cruise that they were going on. So I asked when they were going on it, having a feeling that it was going to be February. And yeah, February. So he was kind of hurt with that again. It is what it is. His mom always books her trips in February. Probably because that's the cheapest time of the year to go. Whatever. So yeah, that has been our weekend and our week. And I've gotten orders, so I now have to go to work. Not saying that that's a bad thing, that's what I need to do today. So I hope everybody has a wonderful week. Again, sorry for this setup. My back is just bad. And, maybe an update on Ozempic. They suck. Nothing. It might be keeping my sugars down, but it's not helping me lose weight at all. And I had said that I will go on these shots for a year. If nothing pans out from these shots, then I will probably have to have bariatric surgery, because I can't do this anymore. I'm questioning whether I have PCOS, because that might be why things are not working. My doctor none of my doctors have ever tested me for it. Even when this first started, when I was 16, nobody has tested me for it. My one doctor is now wondering, because of everything else that's going on, that I may in fact have PCOS, and if that's the case, then nothing is going to work at all. So I go and see my one doctor this month, I think, and he might have to up me to the maximum dose. And if nothing works on these, then I have to, because Wegovy and Mounjaro, the higher doses of Ozempic, are not available in Canada. So the Ozempic is the highest I can do. And the only thing it's doing is making my abdomen severely bloated. Like, to the point where I'm looking like I'm almost 9 months pregnant again. So yeah, and it's very uncomfortable. So I will keep you updated on what happens with that. We shall see. So I hope everybody has a wonderful week, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.